I'm going to begin, John Boyega. I mean, obviously you met the real Melvin for this
Yes.
film. I was just wondering what it's like portraying someone on screen that you know is very likely to watch the film and see their portrayal. I mean, does that add a kind of added element of pressure?
It would do, but I was given the opportunity to speak to him before we started shooting. I spoke to him at the stage where I was planning this character arc and pinpointing, obviously, the emotional beats that's required for the film. And so speaking to him, he just added clarity to my research, to my character development. He was really, really essential in the process. And by the time he spoke, we just got comfortable. And by the time we started filming, it just felt like, he had full trust. But definitely had nerves at the premiere, because that's the first time I knew he was seeing the film. And he came up to me and told me that, yeah, he really enjoyed it. And he thought I did great. I was just like, good.
It's incredibly subtle, very understated performance. I mean, obviously it must be nice that you don't have to learn too many lines, but is it more of a challenge to convey, so many emotions without the use of dialogue?
Yeah, it's a challenge, but it reminded me of what was creatively required during Attack the Block. A person that doesn't necessarily say the most, but an introvert, and that's something that is actually quite natural and true to how he is in general. He doesn't have the most words to say, but when he does speak, it means something. And that for me is always a challenge I'm willing to take on.
I'm not sure if you've seen it. There's a kind of viral picture sort of going around at the moment from the sort of rallies the other day in Charlottesville, and there's a policeman who's protecting the freedom of speech, really, of the white supremacists behind him. He's
the
a black
African-American policeman. Yeah.
And when I saw that picture, having just seen this movie before that, your character spun to mind. I was wondering. I mean, it's just a sign, really, of just how depressingly pertinent this movie really is, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunately, movies are supposed to take us away from our realities, and this movie exposes what our reality really is. And but the positive thing is that the conversation that it sparks, like the self-reflection that it sparks, also.
Obviously, there is one incredibly tough scene to watch in this movie, and your character almost observes the scene. Did it almost feel like you were put in the same shoes as the viewer in that regard? Because the character was kind of on the periphery in some regards, kind of watching it all unfold.
I didn't feel that on set, but after watching it at the premiere, I definitely felt that, because I just looked at the faces of the audience, and it almost was like so similar. The way Melvin was reacting to it, they did, and I think that helps, with watching a movie like that in terms of processing it. You're like, okay, cool. There's one person in the film that finds this really, really weird and finds this horrifying, and that's something that it makes it much more of a smoother watch.
Of course, I mean, we have met a few times before. One of as we mentioned, half of Yellow Sun was the last time, but I haven't met you since Star Wars. Yes. I mean, how much has your life changed since that? What is it, particularly from a career perspective? I mean, in terms of choices, and I mean, do you find there's an added element of kind of scrutiny over what you do next? You feel like people are more kind of paying more close attention to every choice that you make now?
I think I'm not the only one in the industry, but I think it's been very, very exciting, and there's obviously, because of that indie called Star Wars, there's a want and a need to know what's next. But I think I've between the last time we spoke and now, I've set up my own production company, and we're producing Pacific Rim, and there's this, and then there's obviously another Star Wars. There's a good balance of projects that I've now have access to, and I can now decide exactly what I want to do next, which is it's a good position to be in. Can't lie.
So just very fun. I mean, if you could go back and tell the same John Boyega from Attack the Block, if you could give him any sort of piece of advice, now you've got this kind of few years experience, what would you say?
Just keep on doing what you're doing, man. You're doing all right, man. You're doing just fine. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much for your time.
Man.
It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey